What's going on, everybody? RJ Ochoa here from SB Nation's bloggingtheboys.com. Hope all is well wherever you are. We hope you're happy, safe, healthy, and that you're excited. The Dallas Cowboys, our Dallas Cowboys, are back playing on Sunday Night Football this week. Very exciting times. You know, I love it when the Cowboys are on Sunday Night Football because you get the whole Sunday to watch the Red Zone channel. And this is a challenging Sunday. If you're like me, you're a Houston Astros fan. I know. I've heard all the jokes. Believe me, I've heard them all. Or you're an Atlanta Braves fan because the World Series is going on. So this is what you do. You get one of the small TVs, maybe the tablet, the computer screen, whatever you're not using to check out bloggingtheboys.com or our live post-game show, and you put the second game on the small screen because you got to watch the Cowboys on the big screen. Again, it's Sunday Night Football. Cowboys are back from their bye. It's been a long time since we've seen this team. And in fact, the team that they're playing is coming off their bye as well, the Minnesota Vikings. The Cowboys visit the Minnesota Vikings after their bye, just like they did last year. In fact, the Cowboys and Vikings both on their bye before their matchup this year and last year. And this year, the Cowboys and Vikings both went into their bye coming off of overtime walk-off game-winning touchdowns. Lots of, coincidences happening there between Dallas and Minnesota, teams that have been tied together intrinsically for a long time. Obviously, Drew Pearson, the Hail Mary, on and on and on. Great times between the Cowboys and Vikings. And this can be a really fun game. I'm really excited. I think the Vikings are better than their record would suggest they are. We're here to discuss them, obviously, on our preview show like we do every single week. So make sure you do subscribe here to the Blog of the Boys YouTube channel so you don't miss any of our preview shows or any of our other wonderful videos. We have a Madden simulation up now on the channel where you can go check it out, see how the Cowboys fared. Spoiler alert, Trayvon Diggs kept up the interception streak. That's all I'll say. It's the only spoiler I'm going to give you. Today, though, we're here to preview, not look back, not revisit the Madden simulation, and look at how the Dallas Cowboys can have success, really where the Cowboys can have success. And we'll start with one thing, and I know this is going to make you roll your eyes or, maybe make you think I don't know what I'm talking about, but Kirk Cousins is for real. All right, Kirk Cousins is not a quarterback that the Cowboys can take lightly. I know he's very memeable. There's a lot of jokes on and on and on. People think, he's average, he's whatever. Kirk Cousins, I'm not trying to say is like the best quarterback in the NFL, but he is incredibly efficient. He's led a number of drives in the final moments of games this season that haven't translated into Vikings wins, but he's given his team the opportunity to win. Kirk Cousins can get you. Kirk Cousins cannot necessarily be overlooked, and the Cowboys are making a huge mistake if they do overlook Kirk Cousins. He is somebody, again, that can have success. We talk about this defense and how opportunistic it is at creating turnovers, Trayvon Diggs, etc., but it is a defense that can be gashed, that can be had in big stretches. We saw Mac Jones throw a 75-yard touchdown against this defense the last time they played. Kirk Cousins is not only very good in his own right, but he has one of the best wide receivers in the NFL in Justin Jefferson, and so the Cowboys would be smart. They would be actually really smart if they paid a lot of attention and did not allow Kirk Cousins to beat them deep because he can. We move on, and speaking of beating teams deep, the Dallas Cowboys should be able to have success against the secondary of the Minnesota Vikings. I know that people have their, we'll call it, concerns about Dak Prescott entering this game because of the calf injury and whatnot, but Dak Prescott is one of the best deep passers in the NFL. The Minnesota Vikings are without one of their better cornerbacks in Patrick Peterson, and therefore the secondary of the Minnesota Vikings can technically be tested. That's what we want to see. We don't know exactly what the situation is going to be in terms of the whole offense. Terrence Steele is going to start at right tackle. We know that, etc. Michael Gallup would be the ideal option to beat them deep, but this is a moment where CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper can dominate. I think we'll certainly see Dalton Schultz and everybody have their success down underneath and in the middle of the field, but the Cowboys can have a lot of success against the secondary. This might be the recipe, given that Kirk Cousins is talented on the other end of this game as well. This might be the recipe for a shootout, which would be a lot of fun, but, obviously would be kind of stressful. Finally, overall, can't underestimate the Vikings, and I think this is the most important thing. I know it's kind of a grand statement, but the Minnesota Vikings are 3-3, but they could very easily be 5-1. This is something we're going to talk about with our special guest in just a moment, but the Minnesota Vikings lost in week 1 after a fluky call, a Dalvin Cook fluky fumble against the Cincinnati Bengals, and granted, that was against a team that we now know to be very good in the Cincinnati Bengals. In week 2, the Minnesota Vikings got in position to beat the Arizona Cardinals, a very good team in the NFC, obviously, and they didn't because they missed a field goal. And so, you can play revisionist history, hindsight, etc., blah, 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 but you don't have to stretch that far to get this 3-3 Vikings team to a 5-1 record. They are not your average mediocre run-in-the-mill 3-3 team. And so for that reason, the Cowboys need to really take this game seriously. I mean, I think that Minnesota is going to be a playoff team. We obviously know the contenders in the NFC, but there are still some teams. This could be a team the Cowboys see at AT&T Stadium in the wild card round of the playoffs if they don't get that first round bye. But we are a long time away from that. We are a short time away from our very special guest. Paul Allen is the voice of the Minnesota Vikings. You can listen to his broadcast of the game. Was kind enough to give us some time to preview the Minnesota Vikings, what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are. So here is our conversation with Paul Allen. Joined now by the one, the only, the legendary, internationally famous, known across several worlds, perhaps several different universes, solar systems. He is the voice of the Minnesota Vikings. You can hear him, see him, breathe him, likely in a number of different places. It is Paul Allen. Paul, thank you so much for joining the Blogging the Boys preview show.
Well, it's very nice of you to introduce me the way you did. However, due to equity, longevity, and the fact that the lines are long for jobs like this and the gigs are hard to find, I've been left in the wake of a keen turn of speed by Brad Sham, who's walking the metaphorical dog into the end zone. And out of respect, that's what I believe.
Brad Sham is incredible, and every Dallas Cowboys fan does love him. But Minnesota Vikings fan hold you near and dear to their heart as well. We're certainly very grateful that you took the time to join us. Before we talk football, I do want to ask something. I don't know how often you're asked this. What's the best meal you've had recently? Not the most recent meal you've had. If you go back, recent Rolodex of meals, what left you just saying, man, that was sick.
Love the question. Started in the pandemic for yours truly and those in my covenant. Probably like a lot of people, just making food and learning how to make food. So I make smothered chicken, which I make my own gravy. And then I put mushrooms and onions in it. And we just have a wonderful spice blend with the heavy whipping cream and the flour and everything. And then the thighs, bone-in thighs. And I made it Friday night over white rice with a little side. Can't beat it. That's the best one. What about you?
For me, I'm a simple guy and I'm not as ambitious as you are. Not going to put in the time.
I'm not ambitious. I'm hungry.
Well, but if you're hungry, I mean, I'm all about efficiency. Like it's probably for me, like a nice order of wings from Wingstop. You know what I mean? It was, I didn't have to do much. It is what it is. So,
yeah.
Hey, I mean, but we all have our cups of tea, so to speak.
For sure.
You've got a cup literally in front of yourself.
RJ, I'm 55 years old, man. The closer you get to grandfatherdom or, old person dumb, you just start to poke around and you don't rush anymore. And you mess up field goal calls in Arizona and you like to make food. And so just you'll get there, my man, in 20 some odd years.
We'll see. We'll see about that. I don't know if I'll ever love to make the food, but hey,
I got you.
It is what it is. The field goal, obviously, against the Arizona Cardinals brings us to the Vikings, the 3-3 Vikings. I think, Paul, and I no brown nosing here, I think the Vikings are a little bit slept on. This is a point I've had with some Cowboys fans, as the Cowboys have been on their 5-game winning streak. I've said, hey, watch out for that Vikings game post-bye. These two teams meeting after the bye, second year in a row, actually. Who knows if Mike McCarthy will smash any watermelons this time. But this is a Vikings team that's some two weird moments away from being 5-1. The field goal and the Dalvin Cook fumble, etc. Do you feel like the Vikings are underrated nationally? Do you think people just look at the record, the low-hanging fruit, so to speak?
I can't play into the ratings right now, because I don't get a chance to watch the other teams as much as I'd like to, RJ, simply by calling the games, road and home and everything, man. That takes up like 8-9 hours of a day. Now, coming off a bye week, I got a chance to take a peek at a lot of teams and get caught up. And when it comes to underrated, I'd have to know who's rating them and where they're putting them. I mean, I ain't trying to go Bill Parcells on it, man, but it's 500. You could have beaten Cincinnati, then don't have 80 yards of penalties on your offensive line and make every third down 3rd and 20. And from the heart, the Vikings outplayed Arizona. And I mean, they didn't outplay them by a ton, but they played with them and should have beaten them. And they missed the field goal from 37 wide right, and that team's undefeated. I've seen it. I've also seen ugly performances offensive and defensively at certain patches of the season. Long story longer, they're lacking identity still, but I believe in the Carolina game, the defense went about 3/4 of the game, not against a great team, looking like an unbelievably seasoned Zimmer defense. Okay. And Cowboys fans would know what that was like from his coordinating days there. And he won a Super Bowl as the DB's coach back when they had Woodson and Deion Sanders. And in that Carolina game against, it's statistically the third best defense in the NFL with 17 points a game and all that. But man, that was a mirage. Got exposed against the Giants. So I didn't think Carolina was as good as the rankings, but the Vikings marched up and down the field and went for 571 yards. And to close on this, to appreciate that, you would have had to have seen the previous games against the Lions in Cleveland, where we were stuck offensively. Something was wrong. Then you get the coordinator and Cousins and the head coach together for kind of a mini tear down early in the week into the Carolina game. And that's what you saw. So this offense is one of the best in the NFL. People will see it the rest of the season. And the defense is better than what people have seen.
I think that's really well said. Like I said, I really think people, again, however you qualify it, aren't properly evaluating the Vikings right now. And I think some of it is, I mean, the way people love to talk about Kirk Cousins nationally for, it's a hollow meme at this point that people love to kind of pound back and forth and over and over again. And Kirk doesn't get and call it the respect he deserves, or just doesn't get evaluated properly. And I think overall this team, it's felt like, I don't want to make excuses for any team, but it's felt like every week there's been like something to kind of give the Vikings, like a reason for the floundering, like the Bengals lost, the Cardinals lost. Like there's always been a really easy thing to kind of explain it away. And I feel like they really overcame that against the Carolina Panthers. In fact, I don't know, because both the Cowboys and Vikings won their week 6 games on walk-off touchdowns in overtime. I don't know if that's ever happened, like for two teams that are meeting one another. And so I think the Cowboys have just kind of had the benefit of, call it luck or whatever. And the Vikings have just kind of been on the wrong end of that.
Yeah, I'm RJ. I'm on the other side of that. And I'll be straight with you, man, is when we went down there in 2019, I got to draw a line through last year. When Tony Pollard got that long run against us, we had a cornerback actually playing 50, 60 snaps a game who probably never will play in the NFL again. That's just what happened to us with injuries last year. 2019, when we came down there, it's like Leighton Vander Esch, Micah Parsons, I dig, Keanu Neal in the middle. There's a lot of speed on this defense, but it's not the biggest defense in the world.
Right.
Like Arizona. Okay. So when we went down to Arizona, I would not on the microphone. I didn't want to grandstand, but everybody close to me knew I was like, that Vikings are going to beat this team. And here's why. And I feel that way into the Cowboys game, but then I had time to watch back games, and Randy Gregory, it's God bless him. And I know the lonely monster is just eating him alive at times, but here he is, he's unbelievably good right now. And he's as good as I've seen outside of Myles Garrett all season. I ain't lying to you. And when I looked at it, I've seen Randy before. I'm like, okay, whatever, but you don't know where people's minds are. That could change this equation a little bit. However, I love this matchup from the Vikings offense against the Cowboys defense. And
totally agreed.
And now we're going to be down Patrick Peterson, so now you got CD's unbelievable. We saw it last year. I mean, last year, the best wide receiver draft in the history of the NFL, JJ and CD, 1-2, put them whichever way you want. And it's continuing. And the way he compliments Amari, now they know all of McCarthy's plays, so it's quick twitch, which is so important. Yeah, the Cowboys are better than I thought, when I started the prep. It's going to be a hell of a game. It's going to be a high-scoring game.
Well, it's going to be a great Sunday night game, which was that 2019 game. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people thought in that game, you'll recall, obviously, Dak Prescott marches the Cowboys down the field at the very end of that game, and then the Cowboys turtle up, hand it off to Zeke Elliott twice near the goal line. And everybody, that drive kind of felt like, and that was a really wonky season, obviously, for the Cowboys, but everybody, that drive had to feel like this is the montage they show during Dak's MVP speech, right? Like this is it. Like he's just on fire right here. Yeah. And then the Cowboys ripped it out of his hands. There's the weird punt at the end. Tavon Austin calls fair catch. Jason Garrett rips him the following week. I mean, that really broke the Cowboys. And I feel like, I know the Vikings haven't had, a high point of success since then, but that was Kirk Cousins wins on primetime. This is impossible. Yeah. How do you pull it off? And that was Kirk Cousins Kirk has played an incredible role in the composition of the Cowboys in that he to Dak, it was, hey, get yours, Dak. Don't settle. Go get the bag, whatever, secure the bag. And he did. And so these teams are kind of like weirdly, mystically aligned. And again, I'm a huge Kirk fan. And I do think that he just does to get made fun of by people for their own people are trying to confirm their priors on it.
Yeah, but off what you're saying, and I understand that. But I mean, when Kirk was with Washington, those teams weren't as good as 2.5 of the teams he's played for here. So when he had a true shot in 2019 with a good team, he went to New Orleans, got cold-blooded, and won a playoff game. Kirk has that in him. But, Kirk also last year and in 2018, he throw it to the other team where you look and they get to the end zone. And you're like, oh, hey, he was fidgety. He has really settled down. Handling more of the game at the line on his own. And, that plays into what I said earlier is, now we have our first round pick, Christian Darrisaw, finally playing left tackle, kicked ass at Charlotte in his first start, so he's going to be opposite Gregory. And so is Brian O'Neill, the right tackle. And Brian's one of the best right tackles in the NFL. That's good to have that. It's benefiting Kirk. Very smart, very accurate. And I think Kirk's going to have a big night on Sunday night.
I do as well. This Vikings defense, you mentioned Patrick Peterson, not going to be part of it on injured reserve at the moment. Are you nervous? Are you worried? Like, does Dak Prescott intimidate you? Because it sounds like you've lost sleep over Randy Gregory. All the the roses you're throwing at his feet. I mean, like, what's the deal with Dak Prescott? Are you worried? Are you panicked? You recognize him as very good? Like, where are you at on the Dak Prescott scale?
Well, the Cam Dantzler, the second-year corner from Clemson, he's had some rough moments this year. Had some rough moments last year. But he also has had moments where, he's looked fantastic. He's inconsistent. He's going to play a lot, I would imagine. And this Dallas offense, with the way the tackles are protecting, the right guard is obviously very high end. The way the tight ends are being used, it's all over the place. Now, the proverbial fly in the cliched ointment is this will be a loud Halloween night atmosphere. Dak does a lot at the line, and Zimmer is traditionally really good in these situations. And when we went down there in 2019 and won, not the greatest Cowboys team, but the Vikings were down both their starting defensive tackles, I believe, but definitely Linval Joseph. And Arkansas 6th-round rookie Armon Watts had to play tackle. And I mean, he was part of Zeke having a 2.1 yards per carry in that game. So I think we're closer to that defensively right now than we were, say a month ago. But the Vikings got to go, man, because we're at Baltimore and then we're at the LA Chargers and we got Green Bay twice. We got McVay once. So it's tough the rest of the way. And this is a home game, nationally televised. You're mostly healthy. You got to win.
I think that's such a great point. And I think from the Cowboys side of it, after this, they get Denver and Atlanta. And after that, they've got Kansas City, who's, regressed a little bit. I think everybody kind of does expect that to ultimately bounce back. But you could run into a Cowboys team that's maybe looking past this game. But this is obviously important. The Vikings have swept the NFC East as of late. I mean, I think it's a big game for the Cowboys, all things considered. I have two final.
CD Lamb, Amari Cooper, Dak for sure, and you would know more about the rest of the team. Well, Diggs, his older brother made a miracle in that building. He's obviously on fire. I mean, there are players over there who ain't going to let crap like that happen. I mean, they're going to be off the bye, hit legit. I'm so excited for this game. And where I'm concerned about that, RJ, is the last time against a super legitimate team, I was this excited. And I truly believe we can win logically, not homerifically. I messed up that field goal call because I wanted them to win so badly. I'm like, I went off one of my paces and looked a different direction. And man, Brad Sham would say, reel it in, young pup, reel it in right now.
Yeah, Brad Sham loves those dog analogies. Reel in the pup, walk the dog, etc. You mentioned Trayvon Diggs. He's had an interception in every single game. This is my penultimate question. Do you think Kirk can avoid that? Do you think Kirk is the guy to break the curse, so to speak, for opposing quarterbacks?
Well, Trayvon takes some chances, and he's very good at it. there have been some big plays around Trayvon, whether it's running or passing. I'm not saying boom or bust, and you don't make valor the better part of discretion. But you got to play the game with where the play is. And if it's him against Jefferson and it's 50-50, I'm betting 1,000 on JJ. And if I'm wrong, I'll lose my money because Diggs is good. So yeah, I don't think he really has gotten to a point in his career where you got to look at it and offensive coordinator and be like, well, we can only use half the field. He's very good. But no, that I don't think that'll be the case.
I'm with you. You get a lot of Homer Cowboys fans who use homerifically, your word, who say it's going to happen. He's going to break, the record, et cetera. It's like, dude,
what is the record? I haven't researched it yet.
The record is 14. So it's just
he's going to break the record. Who the hell says that? Is he at 7?
He is at 7, and he's like, you run into this, people. He's technically averaging more than 1 interception per game because he had 2 against the Panthers.
The Vikings loved him out of Alabama. They loved him. They weren't in a spot to get him. What draft was that?
That was last year. So this was the year that Stephon was traded. Yeah, he went to the second round. So Cowboys got CD and Trayvon back-to-back picks. So worked out nicely for them. Needless to say,
that's nice.
But yeah, so he's got 7. He's working on 8. Maybe he's got his own jersey number. He's number 7. Maybe he gets Kirk's jersey number. Who knows? But I do think if it happens, I'm with you. I think it's a tip ball. Like it's too fluky at this point.
Yeah, and his brother Steph's going to be watching the game. I mean, I don't know if Buffalo, they were on a bye with us, so he'll be playing somewhere. But Sunday Night Football, he'll know Steph is watching the game against Steph's former team. When Steph was traded from here, I mean, it was weird. And Steph made a miracle in that building in the 2017 season. So, yeah, man, now you're getting me more charged up for this game now. Holy cow.
There's something to it. Like, and it's not fair to say that JJ's like Steph's replacement. I know like people are so quick to liken it that way, but it is interesting that Trayvon would now get a chance to take on the guy that effectively.
But Justin is every bit as good as Stephon. And I feel comfortable saying that in any forum. He is not as seasoned, and I'm sure Steph has tricks to the trade JJ doesn't have yet.
Totally.
But to break Randy Moss records,
he's a super freak.
Season where you had no preseason games, it was all virtual, and there was no hands-on when you were learning to run your routes. Come on. I mean, that's phenomenal.
It's going to be the matchup to watch on the night. My last one for you, Paul, related to football, is Mike McCarthy's Dallas Cowboys. You've obviously faced Mike McCarthy 1,000 times. How do you view this? Like, how do you, like, relative to his, facing him as the Green Bay Packers head coach, do you view it as a more talented Mike McCarthy team? There is this, to go back to ratings or this, the Cowboys are 5-1. There's a number of Cowboys fans who hate their head coach. They think he's terrible with clock management and things like that. So you know how it goes, but do you view this in lockstep with the Mike McCarthy-led Packers teams? Do you think they're better, they're worse, they're unproven, you don't have enough of a sample size? Like, where do you fall there?
Well, I mean, what you said about clock management and ups and downs, I mean, that's fans, obviously, and we're in the age of rage with something called cancel culture, still kind of in a pandemic without the shutdowns and stuff like that. So the vitriol, if it was a 7 before, it's an 8.5 now. And if the praise of something was a 2.5 before, it's a 1 3/4 now. So I don't really, I can't do the comparison because Mike's very fortunate with the quarterbacks he's had all of his career.
Sure.
And Dak's fantastic. So, Dak doesn't run, but the way he moves, he's not a running quarterback, but the way he moves, man, he changes the game. Love him. What I like most about Mike and this team is now that he's been there, it's like I said earlier, things are second nature. So all of them may have been a little bit confused last year on things. Now they're not confused, and it's fast. Every route is fast. Every hole, they now know where it is, and you just got to beat them. So I got a lot of respect for Mike, and I'm a big equity guy, man. And, Mike's done it a long time, and Mike got a Super Bowl ring, and Mike has done so much good for the league that If he mismanages the clock with 42 seconds to go up to halftime, okay, he did, but let's not MF him, and let's not go too far in this thing, and let's have a little respect for equity, because these jobs are hard.
You know what, Paul? I thought I was on Shark Tank for a minute. All this equity talk, you know what I mean? You just, that's an important thing. You've always got to get it.
Old people don't watch Shark Tank. I mean, now see, to get up to Shark Tank and, watch full-fledged TV channels, I'm 55. I'm about 13 years from that, but I'm not 32-year-old RJ, Netflix binge.
Paul, you're not a Squid Games fan?
And say I know, right? Same. Fire, lit, the whole thing. I'm right in between. I don't even know where I was going with that, but God bless the Minnesota Vikings and the Dallas Cowboys. And Father, please, hopefully your will is not for me to mess up another field goal because of how excited I am.
It's going to be a great game, Paul. We'll get you orchestrated on. I'll let you know what channel Shark Tank's on. It's you'll set the DVR, that way you don't have to worry about it. You just go to the list and you hit it, and you never know the kinds of things that you can get from there. But this was wonderful.
Hey, my man, I got a phone, okay, and a computer. I mean, when it comes to, you'll never know what kind of things you can get there. Yeah.
That's true. Paul Allen, the legend, thank you so much for joining our preview show. Have a great call on Sunday night, but we hope it's full of nothing but success, health, wealth, and happiness to you. But just a little bit of football somberness is kind of what we're hoping for, if we're being honest.
My honor, my friend. God bless you, and to everybody who took time to watch and or listen, and enjoy the game.
Want to give a big time shout out, big time thank you to Paul Allen. Incredible conversation talking about the Vikings, talking about what to expect, what they are, what they're like, etc. It's going to be fun. I think it's going to be one of the best Cowboys games of the season, if I'm being totally honest. I know that doesn't sound great. We want a boring game, want the Cowboys to win from start to finish, but this Vikings team, to Paul's point, is very good. The Trayvon Diggs, Justin Jefferson matchup is going to be a lot of fun to watch. CeeDee Lamb on the other side of it. I mean, there's going to be something going on anytime either team has the ball. So needless to say, we're going to have some fun, but what do we need to pay attention to when it comes to the Vikings specifically? What players can hurt the Cowboys? How can they hurt the Cowboys? It's now time to dive into the film room with Matt Minnick to take a closer look and see exactly how the Vikings are equipped to potentially stop the Dallas Cowboys.
After a slow start to the season, the Minnesota Vikings sit at 3-3 and are hoping to get back on the right track. They have a number of talented players who could pose a threat to the Dallas Cowboys this weekend. Let's take a look at a few. During LSU's national championship run, Justin Jefferson dominated opposing defenses from the slot. But with the Vikings, he has shown the versatility to play all over the field. Here, he splits out wide and runs a vertical route down the sideline. He has a great release and is able to gain separation, but the ball is thrown a bit behind him. Jefferson adjusts, catching the ball over the cornerback's shoulder and bringing it in for a 24-yard gain. Jefferson is one of the best young receivers in the league and will present a challenge to the Cowboys secondary. Dalvin Cook remains among the best running backs in the league, and you can see why on plays like this. He sells the run up the middle. That gets the play side linebacker to fill the wrong gap, so Cook bounces out to where the linebacker should be. Not surprisingly, there is a huge lane for him to run through. A few Panthers pursue and try to bring him down, but Cook drags them into the end zone. Cook is an excellent runner with speed, power, and great vision. The Cowboys' defensive front must be disciplined, or he will make them pay. The top priority for the Cowboys heading into any game has to be protecting the quarterback, and that is especially true this week against the Minnesota Vikings. They have one of the most underrated pass rushers in the league in Danielle Hunter. In this clip, he comes off the edge a bit slow, and it looks like he's going to make an inside move. This affects the offensive tackle set and allows Hunter to skip past him to the outside. He shows great hips coming around the corner and chasing down Jared Goff for the sack. The Cowboys are going to have their work cut out for them, keeping Hunter out of the backfield. Both the Cowboys and the Vikings are coming off of a bye, so both teams should be well rested and overly prepared for this matchup. This is a game the Cowboys should be able to win, but the Vikings have some big-time playmakers who must be contained.
Thanks a lot to Matt Minnick for educating us. Like I said, not going to necessarily be the easiest win the Dallas Cowboys have had. I know they're coming off the bye, but so are the Vikings. And like I said, do not sleep on this Vikings team. That 3-3 record is a little bit misleading. This game's on Sunday Night Football, which means you likely know how to watch it. It's going to be on NBC. Biggest game of the week. This is going to do killer ratings. Cowboys going to be in front of a ton of televisions. Like I said, another World Series going on. I promise you, right now, when we see the numbers next week, this game is going to it's going to be a lot larger than whatever the World Series does. That's generally the way the Dallas Cowboys go. It's generally the way the NFL goes. And look, Cowboys, Vikings, Minnesota, I don't know. Yeah, it's going to be awesome. But Sunday Night Football, Al Michaels, Chris Collinsworth, Michelle Tafoya on the call. Of course, you can always listen to the game on 105.3 The Fan, the home of the Dallas Cowboys. You get their home team if you do. Brad Sham, Babe Laufenberg, Christy Scales, they are all fantastic. You can't go wrong any way you decide to watch or listen to this game. What's going to happen? Who's going to win? I've been talking it up and saying, watch out for this Vikings team. They're better than you think. Am I going to pick the Cowboys to lose? No. I'm not. I've got the Cowboys winning, but I think it's close. Our friends at DraftKings, just depends on exactly when you're looking, but 2.5, 3, 2, depends, kind of jumps around, as you know. Cowboys, I'm thinking win, think they cover to that sense. The Cowboys, again, are 6-0 against the spread this season. They are the only team in the NFL that is undefeated against the spread. 31-27, my official prediction. America's team gets their 6th win in a row, and we are all very happy. So I hope that happens. I hope you get candy, or I hope you get your tricks or your treats or whatever the case may be. And I hope you find some time to join us for our post-game show. We will be live here on the Blog of the Boys YouTube channel and on our Facebook page as soon as the game ends to discuss how the Cowboys got the win, who the winners are, who the losers are, so on and so forth. My name is RJ Ochoa. You can follow me on Twitter or Instagram at RJ Ochoa. You can also shoot me an email, rj.ochoa@sbnation.com, if that is more your speed. Let's have some fun. Let's close October out undefeated and with a bang and with some good stuff. So thanks for joining us, everybody. Have yourselves a great day. I hope your teams and your things are all going well. And I hope the Dallas Cowboys win by 100 points on Sunday night. We'll see you after the game.